So hello ladies and welcome to today's masterclass. I'm really excited to share all this information with you. I've been preparing for it for a whole month, so there's a lot of stuff in here. And let me first start by saying that I like to teach. It's how I work with my clients. I teach them what to do, right? Um, and I teach them how to listen to their body and pay attention to their body and how it responds, because that is how we all learn. If I was to just tell you what to do, and you didn't learn by listening to your body or paying attention, it would be a lot harder for you to grasp it and take it all in, right? So I want to teach you so that you have the knowledge so that you can do this on your own. That's my goal with this today as well. So I want to teach you how you never have to diet again. Yay! And how you can get results and feel good in your body, because who is done starving themselves? I know I am, because I love food. So if you're new to me and my story, my name is Angie Marone, and I spent years struggling through perimenopause and menopause. I had the hot flashes, the night sweats. I mean, horrible. I remember waking up, my bed, I was drenched. The bed was wet. I had to lay a towel on the bed to go back to sleep. Pretty gross, but that's what it was. I was not sleeping. There was a time in my life, it was probably anywhere from 3 to 6 months, I was only getting 4 to 6 hours of sleep, trying to run a business. I was exhausted. I had low energy, brain fog. I developed a lot of food sensitivities. I could really hardly eat anything without reacting. I would get hives or my eyes would start burning. I had a lot of digestive issues. It was just one thing after another, one thing after another. And then that weight gain, right? That just kind of, you wake up one day, you're like, what happened to my body? What is this? What is going on? Um, it was so frustrating. Can you relate? Yeah, comment. Yes, me. I understand. Um, and if you feel comfortable, go ahead and share what symptoms are you experiencing now, or what symptoms were you experiencing as you were going through, if you're in menopause or whatever it may be. Because it may be different for everyone, right? But a lot of the basics, like the night sweats, the hot flashes, the low energy, the brain fog, the digestive issues, things like that, seem to be pretty prevalent around everyone. Um, so, and I remember waking up one morning, looking in the mirror, and I did not recognize my body. Sorry, I talked about this, that I have to have my window open because it's so hot in my office. So if you hear the traffic, sorry about that. And it was like nothing that I'd never experienced before. Like looking at in the mirror and like, who is this person? I don't even recognize this body anymore. It was really disheartening, especially someone who is supposed to be living the healthiest lifestyle, right? I was showing others, I was teaching others, this is how you lose weight, this is how you take care of yourself. And I felt like, how is anybody ever going to trust me? Because look at my body. I didn't feel good. I was a mess. I felt like I didn't even know who I was in my body anymore. Maybe you can relate to that. And it's because my hormones had a different idea about what I was going to be doing. Let me see, make sure. So, but here I am now, 52 years old, and I actually feel the best that I have in years. And when I say that, like the majority of the time, because obviously I'm not going to have the best days of my life every single day, right? Um, but I don't feel deprived, and I know how to get results, and I know how to listen to my body and pay attention, so that if I'm not feeling quite right, I know exactly what to do to feel better and to lose the weight or whatever it may be. And that's what I want to share with you tonight. And what it really comes down to is understanding your hormones and your metabolism and learning how to work with them. And I find that we are doing all the things to work against them, because that's what we've heard to do, right? That, doing lots more workouts and lots of cardio and starving yourself and dieting down to barely eating anything and taking away all the foods that you love. And that's not what I want your life to be about. Okay? So, are we ready to get started? Say yes if you're ready. First, I want to talk about why the eating less and moving more is not working like it used to. So in your 20s and 30s, right, we could get away with that. We could work out more because we had all the energy. We could do all the things and go and eat less and drop weight just like that. But it's not working that way anymore. And here's why. When we cut our calories low, too low, our metabolism slows down and our body holds on to fat, especially around the belly, right? That's where a lot of us like this menopause belly, I just can't get rid of it. And we start to see those hormonal imbalances, the ones that I just talked about that I was experiencing, and still sometimes do. And I know what the triggers are. Our hormones, our estrogen and progesterone, cortisol, insulin, everything is getting thrown off as we're aging, as we're going through menopause. And it makes weight loss harder. It's not really anything that you are doing intentionally. It's just your body's way of going, this is where we're at right now. So you need to take notice and either make some changes or this is the road that you're going to be traveling on. So I want to back up just a little bit and explain if you aren't sure what metabolism is. So I want you to think of your metabolism as a car's engine that is always running, even when you're not moving. It's the process your body uses to turn food into energy. So you can do all the things that you need to do, right? You breathe, you think, you sleep, you exercise, even when you digest your food. So your metabolism is that engine. It's running, 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 running. And it's also burning fat. You need food to be able to live, okay? And when you eat too little calories for too long, it can actually slow down your metabolism. So your engine starts to slow down and your body is super smart. It wants to keep you alive. That's its main objective. It doesn't care if you want to lose weight, doesn't care anything about anything else. It wants to keep you alive. So when it senses that it's not getting enough food, it's going to go into energy saving mode. And what this means is that your body is burning fewer calories to conserve energy so that you can do the things. You can think, you can sleep, you can exercise, you can do whatever you need to do. But it makes it harder to lose weight because you really don't have the motivation to do it, right? And what ends up happening is instead of burning body fat, your body's going to start to break down the muscle. And you're already losing muscle as you age. So you're losing more muscle because you're not feeding your body. And slowing down that metabolism. We want that engine running all the time. And then what happens? Leads to those hormonal imbalances that I talked about. So you have cravings, low energy, the brain fog, no motivation, and you're storing body fat, especially in that belly area. Excuse me. This is why the extreme dieting backfires. And when I say extreme dieting, to you, it may not feel like you're dieting. You may feel like, oh my gosh, I'm eating so much food, but your body has a different story, right? It has a different idea of what enough food is for you. So when we diet too long, our bodies get angry. It gets mad at us. And then it needs more fuel. Because when you don't eat enough, I mean, how many times have you done this? Like, oh, I'm going to cut my calories. And then you get so hungry that you eat all the things. And then you cut your calories down. Oh, you feel guilty and like, oh, I'm not going to eat anything now. And then you get hungry and then you eat all the things again, right? So it's that cycle that we keep going on. And then you lose weight and you gain weight and you lose weight and you gain weight. And not only is that bad for your metabolism, it's also bad for your hormones. So we want to put a stop to that. And it's time to stop fighting against what our bodies needs in this time in our life and work with it. Give it what it needs so that it can thrive. And that's where the schmeck comes in. And if you've listened to my podcast, if you've heard me talk, I talk about this all the time. This is something I ingrain into my clients' heads, because if this is in your head all the time and you're paying attention to your body, you're going to know if what you're doing is working or if it's not. So SHMECT is an acronym for sleep, hunger, mood, energy, cravings, and digestion. And this is going to be in your guide. So if you don't get that, it will be in the guide for you. If these things are off, your body is not in a place to lose fat, which means you shouldn't even think about trying to lose weight because it's not going to happen. So you're fighting an uphill battle. If your sleep's off, your hunger's off, you're having mood swings, your energy is low, you're having cravings, your digestion's off, you're bloating, heartburn, and you're trying to lose weight, your body's gonna be like, no. We need to fix these things first. because this is what's important. And I also want to talk about, I want to stress the importance of stress care, because if you are in a stressed out state all the time, like you're going 100 miles an hour and you're doing all the things and you're overwhelmed, again, another reason why you should not be trying to lose body fat, because your body's not going to let go. It's not going to let go of the fat no matter what. And you're only going to end up hurting yourself in the long run. I'm just going to share my story. Just recently, it's probably been almost a month now. I wanted to go into a fat loss phase. Like for the most of my days, I'm maintaining, which I'll talk about in a moment. But I was wanting to go into a fat loss phase, so meaning I wanted to lose some body fat. But only about a weekend, I realized it's not going to work. And how did I know? I was paying attention to my body. I had a lot going on. I was feeling overwhelmed. First, I noticed I was not sleeping. And then I wasn't able to focus. And then I just had low energy. I didn't have any motivation. I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to go for walks. And I was really cranky. So those were signs that, not time to try and lose fat. So what I did is I increased my calories back up and I focused on getting those things back in balance. And so that was the stress, right? That was like I was just stressed out. And so there's other reasons why you should not be ready for the fat loss phase. But if you listen to these signals, you'll know exactly when it's time and when it's not. And when it comes to stress, like it's not just the overwhelm, right? Overwhelm from work or from kids. It could be maybe you're sick. I had a client that she was just sick for almost an entire month. And we were going to start her in a fat loss phase. And I'm like, it is not time. We need to wait until you feel better, because otherwise it's just going to make you feel worse and you're really not going to get the results you want. So we waited until she was feeling better. She was starting to feel better. She had more energy. Her digestion was better. She was sleeping better. And then we could put her in that fat loss phase. Maybe you're taking care of your aging parents, or you're working out too much and not eating enough food. That's stress on your body as well. Anything that is not part of your normal life. And you're probably going, oh, okay, so then everything is stress, right? And I get that. I understand, because as a person who's running two different businesses and going all the time, I feel it. But that's why I pay attention to my body and I practice stress care. Because as we age, no matter what, you may think that you're handling stress well, but your body is not. It's a lot less stress resilient. It can't handle the stress like when it used to. You don't bounce back as easily. So any more stress or anything more on top of what's already going on is going to make it harder for your body to thrive and to lose weight. So you need to find balance. So this is something I just want to make sure everybody knows, that you just need to find balance. It's not like the stress is going to go away, because it's not, but finding some balance. And that could be as easy as making stress care a priority for 10 minutes every single day. Something that brings your heart rate down. So it could be sitting and just doing some box breathing, which is inhale 4, hold for 4, exhale 4, hold for 4, and do that 4 cycles. That's it. Could be reading a book, could be journaling, meditation, deep breathing, a nice easy walk, not a fast pump your heart, get your heart rate going walk. Something that brings your heart rate down and brings your body into a state of calm. 10 minutes, that's it. It could be before you go to bed, even if you do the deep breathing right before you go to bed. Something like that is just going to keep your body, the stress from overwhelming and causing all sorts of other types of hormonal issues, okay? So I wanted to throw that in there because this is the number one thing that we really need to focus on, because life sometimes is just stressful. So we need to manage that stress in some form. So as I mentioned, before you're going to see any results, you have to focus on fixing those things first. Those things that I talked about, the schmeck, right? And maybe you're wondering, well, how do we do that? How do we get rid of the hormonal symptoms? How do we start to feel better? How do we how do we get our body into a place where it feels good so that we can start to lose fat? Well, this is what we do in what I call phase 1. This is the reverse dieting and the gut healing phase. As I mentioned before, if you're thinking about doing fat loss, you can't do it until your body is in the place where it's ready to lose the fat. And this means healing your metabolism, balancing your hormones, and improving your gut health. So if you've been under eating or you're stuck in that dieting and binging and dieting and binging, this phase is going to be the most important one to set you up for success. This is where all of my clients start because the majority of them are under eating and they have poor gut health. And poor gut health is going to come from stress. It's going to come from too much inflammatory foods, too many processed foods, just not taking care of your body. So what we need to do is slowly start to eat more food. And to some people, that's like, oh, scary. How do I eat more food? It's very slowly, right? Because your body may not, you may be like, I'm not hungry. But if you're not hungry, if you're not getting those hunger signals, that means that your metabolism has slowed down so much because it doesn't want you to do the things. So it wants you to slow down. So if you're not feeling hungry, we want you to get to a place where you actually feel hungry I'd say anywhere from 3 to 5 hours throughout your day. You should feel hungry. That means your metabolism is working. That means that you should eat. But also, heal the gut. We need to remove inflammatory foods. Okay. Your hormones are driven by the health of your gut. They are connected and everything in your body and your brain. So if you're feeling a lot of anxiety and overwhelm, if you're not feeding your body the way it needs to, you're going to feel even more of that. So how do we lower inflammation? So when I start working with my clients, and this is what I recommend you do for 3 weeks and only 3 weeks. I mean, you could do longer, but start at least a minimum of 3 weeks. I want you to remove all gluten, all dairy, all sugar, and most alcohol. I would like to say all alcohol, but for some people, they're like, not going to happen. Okay. Along with as much processed food as possible. That means sticking to the outside lanes in the grocery store, not going into the middle, not buying those boxed meals, preparing some clean, healthy food for 3 weeks. I want you to nourish your body. If you want some gluten-free, because you're probably thinking, you take all that stuff out, what am I going to eat? What left is there? I have some recipes, so if you want some that are gluten-free and dairy-free, just reach out to me on social media, and I can send you some of those to give you some ideas for meals. But there's a lot of foods. I don't eat any of this stuff. And I eat a lot of food. So there's plenty of options out there. You just have to find them, right? 3 weeks, that's all I'm asking. And why? Because this is the best way to establish and bring that gut health back to normal. And when your gut health starts to heal, you start to get rid of all those hormonal symptoms. You start to have more energy. You start to sleep better. You start to feel more motivated, right? And then that is when your body is ready to start losing the weight. And like I said, it's not forever. And maybe you can add them back in. So after about 3 to 4 weeks, start adding some of that food back in. But here's where I teach my clients to be body aware, which is if I'm going to have a big bowl of wheat pasta with some protein, whatever it may be, and afterwards I feel miserable. My stomach hurts. I get a headache. I don't feel good. It's your body's way of saying, you probably shouldn't be eating that, right? When I eat dairy on accident, or even just the smallest amount or too much cheese, yeah, my stomach hurts. It swells up in a ball. It hurts. It's horrible. Not worth it to me because I don't want to feel like that. But if you have never removed these foods, you're probably not even noticing how good you could feel. So when you cut them out, you can see how your body should feel. And then again, try them. Some people can do fine with dairy. Some people are okay with gluten. Sugar, probably not a good thing to add back anyway, because it's going to add to more sugar cravings, but there's a way to eat things like that that's going to balance your sugar out. Okay. So that's where we start. Phase 1, healing the gut and then increasing those calories. So here's where we go next. Slowly increasing your calories around 150 to 200 calories, depending on where you're at. Okay, slowly bumping them up. You don't want to go from 1,200 calories to 1,800 calories because you're probably going to gain a lot of weight and you're going to feel full and you're not going to feel good. So you want to do it slowly. And how do you know how many calories that is? You have to track. And I know people say this is a pain in the butt. It's too time consuming. I don't have the time. And I get that. But you can't know where you need to go if you don't know where you're starting, right? And you don't know where you're hitting for protein and where you are hitting for calories. Because again, I've heard this time and time again. Oh, I know I'm eating enough. Have them track their foods. You're hitting 1,100 calories. That is not enough. You are not eating enough. We need to increase that. Okay. So you really can't know because maybe your body's in a state where 1,100 calories feels normal to you, but it's not where it should be. I promise that as you start to track, it will get easier. It will, because you'll find some foods that you really like and you can use the same foods over and over again. You can, there's little habits and tricks. Once you get to do it, like myself, it's so quick because I eat a lot of the same foods and I can copy and paste to the next day and just couple tweaks here and there. And not only is it going to help you to learn how much food you're eating and what your macros look like, but you're going to notice how your body feels when you eat the right amount of calories. Cindy, is there an optimal number of calories we need to get to? Yep, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So, what app? MyFitnessPal is a good one, and Macros First. I like Macros First because you can do a lot more with it, and MyFitnessPal, it charges you an arm and leg for things, so that would be something I would do, Macros First. And you should be able to go in there and adjust things for that. So for a week, before you do anything, so this is where you start, right? You're like, okay, I'm going to do this for 1 week before you do anything, before you change any of the way you're eating, anything, even your 3 weeks of getting rid of those inflammatory foods, just track your meals, just how you would normally eat. Don't change anything because that's where you're going to see this is where I'm starting, okay? You're going to see how many calories you're eating. You're going to see how much protein you're taking in. These two things are always, always, always going to be priority over everything else. Because if you eat your amount of calories and you hit your protein goals, you don't eat as many of the fats and the carbs because your body is satiated, because it feels full, okay? So after you see where you're sitting, where you've been eating, and maybe it's, here's the thing too, is maybe you're like, oh, during the week, you're eating about 11, 1,200, maybe 1,300 calories, and then comes Friday, Saturday, and you're eating 2,300 calories. Yeah, that's not good either. Your body likes consistency. It likes to know, I'm going to be fed this much food tomorrow. I'm going to be fed this much food tomorrow. When you eat not very much, it's going to be like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to get very much food tomorrow, so I'm going to hold on to this fat. And then you overeat, and it's like, oh, well, what's this? But it just messes with your metabolism so much more. So the more consistent you can stay, the more even you can stay, the better it is for your body. So you see where you're at. You see where your calories, what you've been eating. Then you want to slowly bump your calories up. And I'm going to get to the amount of calories here in just a second. So you're going to slowly bump those up 150 to 200. Start there because we don't want you to gain weight. I've actually had clients lose weight in this reverse dieting phase. They're eating more food and they're losing weight because their body is so happy. It's like, yay, I have food. I've had a few clients that came to me, they're eating around 1,200 calories, which is way too low. That's about enough calories for a 3-year-old. And we got them up to like 1,800 to 1,900 calories, and they were still losing weight because their body was just so happy. But this all depends on the person. Everybody's different, how their body responds. But just so aware, if you are gaining a few pounds here and there, that is normal as well. And it's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Don't worry about it right now, because right now, all you're supposed to be thinking about is, I'm making my body feel good. I'm restoring my metabolism and I'm balancing my hormones. Okay. So you're going to track for a week, see where you're sitting. Then this is where you determine your TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. This is the place that helps to restore your metabolism properly. It stops muscle loss and it helps to regulate hormones. It's your happy place for your body. And this is your maintenance. So like when you do reach your eat your goals and you're like, this is where I'm happy at, this is the amount of calories you should be eating all the time. I can easily eat 2,200 to 2,400 calories and not gain weight because I've restored my metabolism to a happy place. I can go on vacation and not gain weight because I've restored my metabolism. It's happy. Okay. I'm not starving it with 1,200 calories and then eating 2,500 when I'm on vacation. It's like, whoa, let's hold on to this food, right? So, how do you figure out your TDEE? So, a quick way to do it would be take your body weight times 14 to 15. So, for myself, I weigh 160 pounds. Um, that would be 2,240 calories up to 2,400 calories. It's nice to have a little bit of a range that you want to go to. Okay, so 2,200 to 2,400 is where mine is. And I told you that's where I sit and that's where I'm happy. There is another in the guide. Ooh, there you go. A better weight because you want to be a little bit more specific. And if you don't want to do it here, you can search online and just look for a TDE calculator and you can find it. You'll enter in information and it'll give you the amount right there. So maybe you're going, holy cow, how am I going to eat 2,200 calories? Again, maybe different for everyone. Seems like a lot, but I guarantee you that when you have hit your goals and you can go on vacation, like I said, and eat all the things and you don't gain weight, you're gonna be like, yay, I'm glad that I was able to get there. Right? Think of this as actually giving your body what it actually needs so it feels safe, so it can release that stored fat later. So that's what we're building up to, a place where your body feels safe so we can let go of the fat. Okay. And in this phase, you're still going to be removing the inflammatory foods. You're going to be paying attention to your schmeck and checking. Am I sleeping through the night? Am I able to go back to sleep? Am I experiencing any cravings? Do I have good energy? Do I have less anxiety? Am I less stressed? Do I have less mood swings? Is my digestion on point? Is my bloating gone? Am I having daily bowel movements? These are all things that tell your body it's in a happy place. They're all indications that what you're doing is working or not. If those things are off, then you have to find some tweaks. What am I doing? What do I need to change? Do I need more protein, right? Listen to your body. It will tell you what it needs. So again, this is phase one. How long do you stay here? Well, when you hit or get close to that TDEE and your schmeck is in check. Those two things, you have to have them both. Then and only then is it time to go into phase two, that fat loss phase. If you try doing it before, I'm eating, you start at 1,200 calories and now you're eating about 1,600, you're like, oh, you know what, this is just I can't do this anymore. I want to just lose weight. You get impatient and you're still not sleeping. You don't have any energy. You're stressed out. You're having bloating still going on. You're just setting yourself up to fail. You're not going to get the results that you want. Okay, so you cannot skip phase one. And this could take anywhere from 4 weeks up to 6 months. I know that sounds like a long time, but it all depends on you, how consistent you are, and where your body is at where you start. If you're someone's like, you know what, I feel pretty good generally. You know what, none of these things really bother me. I just can't get rid of the weight. It might not take you as long. All right, so are there any questions? Is everybody following along? This is a lot.
I have one quick question. So
Yes.
for the TDEE, are we doing that based on what we weigh now or based on what we would like to weigh?
What your weight is right now.
Okay.
And then so that it will change, right? So let's say you lose 15 pounds. Well, then you'll redo your TDE with the amount that you weigh at that time. Okay? Yeah. And that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to keep changing it up. Okay. So let's move into what everybody's wanting to know, the fat loss phase. So once your body is functioning well, so it's happy, it's healthy, that's when we can move into a temporary fat loss phase. And I emphasize the word temporary because fat loss is not meant to be forever. You should not diet forever. You should not be trying to lose fat all the time because this destroys your metabolism and your hormones. And I'm going to repeat that over and over again so you hear that, right? In this phase, this is where we create a slight deficit while keeping our protein high. You always want, I'm going to give you a good rule of thumb. It depends per person, but a good rule of thumb for your protein should be about at least 100 grams excuse me, minimum. So at least hit 100 grams. Or what I'd really like you to do is 1 gram per pound body weight. But if you can hit 100 grams, good for you. That's awesome. That's where I want you to be. Otherwise, try for a gram per pound body weight. And you might need to adjust up or down. Like some people, when they add and get more protein, they feel really full. It takes a while for your body to adjust. So go back down a little bit and then slowly increase it, just like we do with the calories. Okay. So we're cutting those calories. We're going to cut around 200 to start. And you're going to see how that feels. Because if you're at 2,200 calories, you're going to go down to 2,000. Do that for a week or two. How do you feel? Do you feel good? Are you losing weight? Stay there. If you stall and the weight loss isn't happening, try another 150. Okay, for another week. If you're keeping, when you're making progress, you do not change things. So if you're constantly making progress, you don't change. You only make changes if something stalls, if you're not making progress. And that may be up or down. Okay, but if things are working, you stay where you're at. Okay, you never want to go below 1,500 calories. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. If you're like 4 foot and you weigh 110 pounds or 100 pounds, maybe you can go. But for the majority of us, going under 100 or 1,500 calories is going to destroy your hormones and your metabolism. And we don't want to do that. So when you hit that, if you get to that point, then you're going to go back up, right? You're not going to go lower. Let's say you hit 100 or 1,500 calories and you stall. Well, we don't want to go lower. So what are we going to do? We're going to reverse diet back up. We're going to go up about 300-400 for a little bit and then come back down. Okay. And you may not need to do that, but that is something that you can do. Again, you start to work with it. Okay. And you still need to continue tracking to make sure you're eating enough because you want to make sure you're maintaining muscle, but you're still in that slight deficient for that fat loss. What are you paying attention to at this time? Your calories, your macros. Again, protein, hitting your calories, hitting your protein always first. You want to pay attention to those carbs and fats. But again, if you're hitting your calories and protein, you're most often going to be okay with the carbs and fats. It's most often if we undereat our protein, we will eat a lot more carbs because we're hungry. You eat more protein, you're not going to feel as hungry. It satiates you. And you're paying attention to those schmecked symptoms. Those are key. Those start to go off. You need to change something. You need to shift something. This is going to ensure that while you're doing this and you're cutting these calories, the fat loss is going to happen. And your hormones are going to stay balanced. Again, that's number one, right? Keeping the hormones balanced. So let's say while you're doing this, you're starting to feel exhausted. Maybe you're having more cravings. This is something that I'm working with on some my clients they're in their fat loss phase right now. Every week I'm like, how's your sleep? Are you hungry? Are you feeling full? Or do you have any cravings? And how's your energy? And if they're like, oh, I've really been, because I just talked to one girl today, she's like, I'm really feeling a lot more hungry and I'm having some cravings. All right. So there's two things you can do. You can pause the fat loss and go back to phase one for a while. So bump up those calories a little bit, 100, 200, 300, as high as you feel comfortable, right? You don't have to go all the way back up to maintenance, but give yourself a little bit more. Or maybe just throw in a carb refeed day. So that would mean pick 1 or 2 days that you're going to go about 50 to 75 grams more of carbs. Okay, because usually if you're dropping your calories down, your macros are going to come down and the carbs are going to come down. The carbs are going to help with the energy. Most of us will crave stuff too if all that's low. So you bump the carbs up. And when I say that, like these are healthy carbs, right? We're not going to have pizza and pasta and all the stuff. I mean, not say you can't have them, but let's think about potatoes and rice and things like that. The edamames. Bump those up a little bit more and then you come back down. So just for 1 or 2 days, you're not doing it the whole week, just 1 or 2 days. And most often, like if I want to do that, I'm going to do it on a weekend because we're going to go out to eat. So I'm going to have more carbs on that day and then come back down. So that's only if things feel off, right? this is the phase that most women will go wrong because they push through, they keep cutting their calories, they keep dropping their carbs, and they end up back where they started with that wrecked metabolism and all kinds of hormonal symptoms. And we don't want to do that, right? So pay attention to your body. It's okay to go up and down. And again, it's good. It's not good to go down and down and down, but it's good to go hit a point and go back up and go down and go back up. Um, we work you work so hard in that first phase to get your body to a place of good that you don't want to go back to, oh, I have to restart all over again, right? So listen to your body. When things are off, your body is going to tell you it's not okay. So you have to listen. And how long do you stay in the fat loss phase? Anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks. You don't want to do it any longer than 12 weeks, right? We're not dieting all the time. And again, in that time, let's say you're going on vacation. Well, then you're going to reverse diet back up for a couple weeks until you're even not just the time on vacation, but the week after, stay up there, and then you're going to come back down. I know this may sound overwhelming, but most of the time when you get to a good place where you feel good, you're going to maintain most of the time. So this isn't something you're going to be doing throughout the whole year, right? And how long it takes, it depends on the person, depends on your goals, depends on how you're feeling, depends on if you have vacation, depends on if you are going, like, so many things, depends on, let's say something horrible happens and you're not feeling it. You don't stay in a fat loss phase. You get out of that and you feel your body, because you have to take care of that body first, because that is first and foremost important. All right, so this is something that I want you to also think about. Your end goal and your results should not just be based on weight loss. I know that's the number one thing. Everybody's like, but I really want to lose the weight. And I understand that 100%. But first, you should be thinking about your inches and your body fat and your body composition. So before you start this process, I want you to do measurements. Measure around your belly, so your belly button. Measure around your hips, so that's the largest part of your butt. Measure your right thigh, your right bicep. If you want to do your chest, you can. But most of us want to lose the weight from the belly button down to the knees, right? So that's where we want to take those measurements, okay? Take those measurements and I'll explain here in just a second. So inches first, and then your body fat and your body composition. You want to see your body change, because while you're doing this, you should also be lifting weights. If you're not lifting weights, you should be doing some type of body weight workout, some type of resistance, something to build and stimulate muscle, because we're losing it so quickly in our 40s, 50s, and 60s and on. And the more muscle you have, the more help it's going to be to you to help you to burn the body fat. So the scale may not move where you want it to, but if you fit in those size smaller jeans that you love and you feel good and confident in your body, then who cares what the scale says, right? The scale should be the last way to determine your results in this whole thing. First measurements, then how your clothes feel and look, and then that scale. And the reason I stress this is because I've had many, many, many clients who have only lost about 5 to 7 pounds, but lost so many inches that they were able to drop like 2, 3 clothes size, because their body composition changed, because they lost fat, they gained muscle, they looked leaner, and the scale barely moved, and they were so frustrated. But I'm like, look at your pictures, look at what I'm seeing. It's a totally different body, whether that scale says it or not. So don't worry about that scale, okay? And it is really important that we maintain and build that muscle, right? Otherwise, you're just gonna end up being a skinny fat person. And what that means is your body's thin and you fit into the clothes, but you have no muscle. And when you have no muscle, you're gonna fall down, you're gonna break things, especially as you get older. You're just not gonna look the way that you really want to look. Okay, so let's say you went through that fat loss phase and you reverse dieted a few times, up and down, and now it's time to maintain. So first, let me back up. Anybody have any questions about that part, the fat loss phase? It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just listen to your body, um, up and down, do what you can. If something in your life is going on, just let it go. Like it's not time to worry about it, right? Okay, if we're ready, we're gonna move into the maintenance phase. Okay, this is the last phase. This is where like I said, I spend the majority of my life because I'm at a place where I do feel pretty good. Yeah, I want to see some fat loss happen, but for the most part, this is where because I got a lot going on. This is where you stabilize the weight and you avoid gaining weight because that's the whole thing, right? We don't want to have to lose the same 15, 20, 30 pounds over and over and over again. We want to keep that weight off. And then maybe we lose the 3 to 5 pounds that we gain here every once in a while. And maintenance isn't about just staying at your goal weight, it's also a tool. So you can use maintenance, like I said, during vacation, during stressful times, or whenever your body just needs a break from fat loss. So if your schmeck is off, it's time to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go into maintenance for a while to just let my body be okay. And here's the best part, you can repeat this cycle. You can heal your gut, reverse, lose fat, maintain until you reach your goals, all without destroying your metabolism and keeping your hormones balanced. Again, from where I came from, because yes, I wanted to lose the weight. I gained about, 12, I don't know, it was 12 to 15 pounds. But I felt so horrible in my body just because I didn't have energy. I wasn't sleeping. Like those things to me were so much more important to me. I needed to feel good. I needed to be able to live my life, right? So we don't want to destroy that metabolism anymore. And in maintenance, the good part is you really don't have to track unless you want to. So that's why I said tracking doesn't have to be all the time. Some people like to do it all the time, but you don't have to. I don't love to do it all the time, but I know there's times when I have to do it because I just have to make sure I'm on point. So because by now you should have learned what portion sizes your body needs because if you eat a lot of the same foods and you know how much you've portioned out, because hopefully when you're measuring the foods out, you're looking at it like, oh, that's about how much I need. I can now probably eat within 100 calories of where I know I am when I'm tracking because I have measured it so much, I know exactly what it looks like. So you're learning, right? It's all a learning process. And you know how when you eat the certain amount of food, how your body feels. You know that when you don't eat enough, this is how you feel. You know that when you eat too much of this is how you feel. You know that if you overeat, this is how you feel, right? So then you're paying attention to your schmack. Always. This is going to tell you again if what you're doing is serving your body or not. I do recommend check-ins from time to time, just tracking to see if you're doing what you should be doing, especially if things feel off. Like, let's say you're going along, you haven't been tracking, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't have really good energy. I don't feel really, I'm struggling. I don't have any motivation. I don't want to work out. I don't want to go for a walk. I don't want to do anything. Well, maybe I should check. Maybe I've kind of started slacking on my calories and you've dropped them down too far. Or maybe you aren't hitting your protein as regularly. Just do a little check-in 3 or 4 times in a week. See where you're at. Okay, I need to bump things up. Great. That's what I'm going to focus on the next couple of weeks, right? Um, so this is where you're at, right? And this is what you're doing the majority of the time, just kind of paying attention, checking in from time to time because you already know what you're supposed to do. And if that scale starts to creep up more than that 5 pounds, because 5 pounds can be normal. That's just like normal. I can gain that just from one day to the other. But you know, once it starts going up, what you need to do. Okay, it's time to check my calories. Maybe I need to eat more and then I need to go back into fat loss, whatever it may be. You're paying attention to that. And if you see that scale start to climb, this is again, you check the calories. Are you not eating enough? Are you not eating enough protein? Too many carbs? Then you reverse up, hit those macros until your body feels healthy again. And then you head into that fat loss phase and then cycle until you hit your goals. So that's the process. Instead of starving and binging and starving and binging, you're going to eat a lot of food and then eat more food and then maintain and then eat a lot. You see, it's all about feeding your body and no more starving. I really want to emphasize and point out that this whole process should not be about weight loss. And I just shared this why for myself. It should really be about feeling good in your body. Here's the thing that I've had to tell my clients. When you're so focused on the weight and the scale, you're not going to see anything else happening. You're not going to know that you're feeling better. You're not going to know that things are better. So pay attention to these other signs. You want to feel good in your body. You want to have the energy to do the things that you want, to play with grandkids, to play with your kids, to go for hikes, whatever it may be for you. You want to be able to sleep through the night and wake up feeling refreshed. Like, I can get all these things done. I have all this great energy. It should be about not having the aches and pains and and being able to push through your day pain-free, right? It should be about checking off the list of the million things that us women have to do because you're able to focus on them. You have the energy to do it. That that is what is a sign of a healthy body. A body that's going to thrive for years to come. And that is what we all want. And I guarantee when you focus on these things, that scale, it's not going to affect the way you feel about your life. And if you don't lose a couple pounds, but you feel amazing and your clothes are fitting and you feel more confident, that's more important. So don't make it about that scale. Okay, whew, my face is hot. I'm hot. I've talked a lot. Is there anything that came up as I was going through that? Because I'm at the end here. It's time for you guys to try and do this on your own and see what happens. So how are y'all feeling? Are you like, holy crap, that's a lot? Or you're like, okay, this is good. I mean, it gives me some ideas. I can kind of see what I've been doing that I need to make some changes of. Hopefully you took lots of notes. Let me go ahead and share this guide right now so you can download that. I'm gonna put this in the comments. And if for some reason you're on your phone and you can't get it, just send me, oops. There. Just send me a message on social media and I will make sure that you get it. Okay, so that's the guide that I made. It has a lot, the phases in here, a lot of information in here, so it's not so overwhelming. So make sure you click on that, download that. Like I said, if you're on your phone, I don't think anybody else is anymore, but you can also let me know. Okay, so I'm really excited for you guys to try this on your own. Okay, but I want you to know that if you're thinking, oh my, this is way too much for me to think about, I understand. And I would love to help support you through the process with my one-on-one midlife makeover coaching program. This is where we take everything you learned today and apply it to your body with personalized coaching, meal and macro guidance, and accountability, because really what most of us need is someone making sure we actually do it, right? Unless you're very self-disciplined, and if you are, kudos to you. I'm so not that person. I can be with some things, but it depends. And I know how it can feel frustrating, like you're trying all the things and nothing is working. But I also know that sometimes you're like feeling overwhelmed and you're just like, I can't start. It's too overwhelming. There's too many things. And working with somebody can help you to slowly show you how it's done. That could be super beneficial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link for you in the chat so that you can set up a strategy call with me. I'm going to send this here too as well. This is free. Oops. And what we do is I just ask you questions. I want to know more about you. I want to know what you've tried. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what your end goals are. Then make sure you click that so you don't lose that. And then it will be open on your computer or whatever. I want to know what you've been doing, what you're struggling with, what's going on with your body, because everybody is so different, right? And then we can decide if one-on-one coaching is for you or not. There's no commitment, nothing. It's just a phone call. Even maybe you'll leave with some insights and some more key takeaways that maybe it's just a few things you need to tweak to try first. Then at least I know that I helped you and I supported you, because I really do want all the women to be able to feel good in their body. And as a gift, if anyone does decide to sign up, sign up for the call in the next 72 hours and you decide that the coaching is what you need, I'm going to offer $300 off the entire program. It is a 3-month program. Again, we got 3 phases. So hopefully we can get through all those 3 phases in those 3 months. And you really have nothing to lose by just getting on a phone call with me. And I can answer some questions for you. So that is all. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, answer or go ahead and you can take yourself off or you can post them in the comments. And if something comes up later and you're like, oh, I wish I would have asked her this, go ahead, send me an email, ask. I'm going to answer. I will answer them for you.
Do you find many people that you've worked with are able to go back to dairy or no?
Dairy, no, some. And I find that they can do little bits, but not a lot. Like harder, like for myself, harder cheeses. Some people can do okay with Greek yogurt. Some people, yeah, they're just like, nope, every time I eat it, I blow up like a balloon. Yeah, so again, it all depends. And here's the thing that I found is I know some clients that have given those up for like a year or two, and then they try and they're like, oh, I can eat it now. It's okay. And or there's someone like me that, you know, 15 years ago I couldn't eat ice cream because it was miserable, and I still to this day, no ice cream for this girl. So and I'm okay with that. There's almond milk ice cream. There's coke. I can enjoy it other ways. So yeah, yeah. Uh, anything else? Anything else? Like I said, if something comes up, go ahead and feel free to just send me an email. But if not, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate your time. Um, everybody has a busy life, so I appreciate you spending it was almost an hour. Yay. I hope this opened your eyes and gave you some insight as to a new way to lose the weight and to feel good in your body and without having to diet and starve yourself and give up all these foods that you love. I wish you the best of luck. Like I said, I really love seeing women thrive in their menopausal years because it can be a rough ride. And it's truly what I want for you. I want it to be a smooth ride. So, because you truly deserve it. So, thank you so much. I appreciate you and have a great night.